In any industry, being singled out for excellence by your peers for exemplary work over the course of a year is a tremendous honor. That is especially true in marketing and communications, where dynamic agencies vie for top honors in a highly creative and competitive field. In this episode of the Can You Hear Me podcast, co hosts Eileen Rochford and Rob Johnson welcome guests Anne Marie Mitchell, Vice President of Reputation Partners and Executive Board of Directors co president at the Publicity Club of Chicago, as well as Tweed Thornton, the Executive Director of the Publicity Club of Chicago and a not for profit consultant, to discuss why marketing awards are so important. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Can You Hear Me podcast. I'm Rob Johnson, President of Rob Johnson Communications.
And I'm Eileen Rochford. I'm the CEO of the Harbinger Group. We're a marketing and strategy communications firm. So every year, marketing firms like mine, agencies, even corporate communications departments compete against each other and even other Chicago firms to be recognized as the very, very, very best in the entire business. But why do we put so much time and effort into these honors?
That's a very good question. We're going to explore it today. One reason is that the agency business is highly competitive and its teams are about as creative as you can get. So we're going to dive in a little deeper into today's topic, which is why marketing awards are so important. And to do that, we welcome not one, but two guests to the podcast. Anne Marie Mitchell is Vice President of Reputation Partners here in Chicago, and also the Executive Board of Directors co-president at the Publicity Club of Chicago. Tweed Thornton, he's the Executive Director of the Publicity Club of Chicago and a not-for-profit consultant. So the Publicity Club runs the most prestigious awards program in the Midwest, the Golden Trumpet Awards. These awards have been recognizing excellence in public relations, marketing, and communications in the Midwest for over 65 years. So Anne Marie and Tweed, welcome to Can You Hear Me? We are thrilled to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks. Excited to be here.
Yay. You guys are like the awards king and queen of Chicago. For, PR and marketing agency and advertising, right? Come on.
This is news to me, but I'm
You've just been
thrilled
bestowed
to
these
I'm thrilled to
titles.
have it. Yes.
I'll take it.
I accept the honor.
Excellent. We'll have a coronation soon. But before we have the coronation, how about we hear just from each of you a little bit for our listeners so they can understand your own professional journeys and how you came to be where you are a little bit. How does that sound? Who wants to go first?
That sounds great. I'll go ahead first. Again, Tweed Thornton. I have been with the Publicity Club of Chicago since 2019. I've got my first start working in the nonprofit field in college. I'd studied nonprofit management even back then. And I was at the City Club of Chicago, not to be confused with the very closely named Publicity Club of Chicago, but I was at the City Club of Chicago, and I became executive director there in 2009. Led a lot of different programs, had expanded the kinds of programs that City Club was doing. When I first started, it was a lot of civic officials. It's always going to be a lot of civic officials at the City Club, but we started having like nonprofit series inside of our overall series. We had foundation leaders, then we would have education leaders, and we would be talking about policy. Eventually, if anything was happening in Chicago, we would get a lot of top leaders coming to talk about it. For example, the NHL draft came to Chicago, and one of the first things I did was reach out to the commissioner's office, and eventually Gary Bettman came to speak to City Club. Biggest accomplishment, the thing I'm most proud about is having a event where John McCain and Dick Durbin spoke together at the height of the government shutdown in 2013. A story for another podcast. So in 2017, I left to start my own company based on my experience, and my company, 4-Star Initiatives, which consults nonprofit organizations and helps them have great events, great marketing and communication campaigns, and strategic planning, among other things. So again, started with Publicity Club of Chicago in 2019. I've been serving as executive director there during that time, and have had the great opportunity to work with communications and PR leaders like Anne Marie Mitchell, who started as co-president last year and has been a frequent collaborator and board member for PCC.
Thank you. I'm going to try to follow that one. So yes, I have been co-president since last year, but involved with PCC for probably 10 years, on the board for 5 years. And I think the way I would describe my journey to nonprofit PCC work, and also this, thank you, the mantle queen of awards, you united me, Eileen. So the first, I would say, half of my career, I'm going to say 15 years-ish, I was more in the corporate and agency side, and working on so many campaigns, whether I was working with Ketchum or Golan on the agency side, or, campaigns with my corporate employers like ComEd, Case Corporation, Amico, now BP. And, it's funny, like when I think about those 15 years, what is the thing that I remember most is the PRSA award-winning, Silver Anvil campaign, of all the things, because that was when you're able to take a campaign that you worked on so hard, and this was something we worked on for Georgia Pacific when I was with Ketchum, and you're able to articulate what it is that mattered about that campaign and talk about the results and come together with your team and your client, and then put that award entry in, and then get to go to Georgia to get recognized by the Georgia PRSA for this, employee communications campaign that was noted as the best, and of all those applicants. I still have that trophy, I'm sitting behind me in my other office. You don't see it behind me here, in my home office. But, I think that speaks to the value of awards, right? You spend your career and you do all these different programs, and what do you remember? It's that culminating moment. So now this second half of the career, I spent 15 years of it teaching at Columbia College Chicago. I was working with students and working with a lot of nonprofit clients while still consulting. And then I've come back to the agency side now with Reputation Partners, and working with PCC on the Golden Trumpets, and now seeing again, I'm kind of back full circle on the agency side. And we'll be able to talk about this, but what I was able to see from my colleagues as they were putting together, and no conflict of interest because this was a campaign I wasn't a part of, but just as they were putting together the campaign and to enter the Golden Trumpets for this year's award ceremony, it's a thread, right? To see how agencies, how corporations in the communications world are able to come together and use the process of working on an award entry for so many different benefits that I know we'll talk about. And, it's just really impactful. And to be now on the side working with PCC and, being a judge and bringing judges on and getting to see what happens at these magical award ceremonies that I know we're going to talk about how we've been able to bring this back since COVID, and make them these special moments again, which people are craving. And it's just been wonderful and magical. So just thrilled to be talking about this with you.
Yay! It is so fun, just the whole award thing. I know there's for most of us, I would imagine, coming from agency life, there's a lot of pain in remembering award entry season, but there's also a lot of joy, isn't there? There's a ton of joy when you win it.
So let me ask you this question. You were talking about the benefits of entering it, but obviously people will say, "Oh, I'm just glad to be nominated," or whatever. But truly, they want to win the awards. What are the benefits of entering and winning awards for brands and for agencies? Tweed, let's start with you.
Yeah, Anne Marie talked a little bit about it already. You get that special moment, that can carry with you, for the rest of your life. You have the physical trophy. That's a constant reminder. It'll be, I enjoy walking into agency offices and seeing a line of PCC awards that are on there. And I know that, they didn't just put that out there that morning because I happened to be stopping by. That's where they are all the time. And where they live. So obviously just that physical reminder is certainly one. The enhanced reputation and credibility that comes with the awards, especially if you're a younger agency, submitting the award, then getting that honor, and getting the honor at the same night that some of the largest agencies in the world are getting an honor as well. That's a big thing. It then we'll see agencies, also nonprofits, also associations, and other and some corporations will apply as well. But primarily, the agencies, as soon as they're getting the award, many of them the very next day up on their website. They are broadcasting the fact that they got it, and they're sharing it across their social channels, and they want to both boost their reputation among others, including there's the hope of attracts clients and other business opportunities. You'll visit these websites and agency websites, and they'll talk about how they're an award-winning firm, and especially for the younger agencies, maybe PCC is the Golden Trumpet Awards are the awards that made them be able to say we're an award-winning firm. And then, it's great for employee morale and talent retention as well. So a couple of your team members have worked really hard on this. You give them their moment in the sun that they've earned, that they put in so much time and effort. And by putting their work in front of the entire community, that I know that can be real. It's again, it boosts morale and helps them all around. And talking about the fact that these awards are announced in front of the entire community, there's a great opportunity for networking. This is going to the award ceremony itself. Is there's so many people that it's like a reunion on one level. You'll see a lot of hugs, a lot of people, asking each other how they've been, saying, it's been so long since they saw each other. Anne Marie mentioned how the awards, how we've brought them back, quote unquote, from during COVID. Our virtual or 2020 and 2021 award ceremonies were both virtual. When we brought the awards back in 2022, we wanted to have as small of a program as possible because this was the first time that a lot of people who had regularly gotten together over the years, it was the first time in 3-4 years that they had a chance to see each other. So there's a lot that goes into it, and there's some other things that other reasons I'm sure I missed, but those are definitely the top ones, and the ones that I enjoy seeing, especially the community aspect of it. In some ways, I've seen agencies use the Golden Trumpet Awards as their coming out party. Maybe they've been around for 3 or 4 years, and they had a great year. They feel that they've finally come to the point where they can enter the Golden Trumpet Awards. They'll win 4 or 5 awards and bring out the whole team. And it's you know, a lot of people will get on the community's radar because of the Golden Trumpet Awards.
That's great. These are all excellent examples. So Anne-Marie, um, Tweed touched on a bunch of things. He kind of lightly touched some of that employee morale, you know, having the parties and celebrating and thanking team members and such. Definitely touched on brand reputation a little bit. And you mentioned client acquisition, but do you have anything to expand in all those areas in terms of what are the benefits for brands and agencies when winning these awards?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the whole arc beginning to end. Like I was almost thinking of mapping out this process, you know, of thinking like just from when the agency finds out the award is, you know, entries are open, to the mad scramble to figure out what are the best, you know, stories we have to tell, you know, what are the most impactful moments. So just even forcing those conversations, right, within an environment to think about what is it that we're most proud of. Getting the associations, as you said, and other nonprofits, because it's not just agencies, but we want all organizations who are working in communications, and we're really working in important marketing issues, you know, trying to move audiences and change perceptions and bring people, you know, for all different kinds of reasons and goals to hear a message, you know, that's really could change lives. You know, when you think of some of our nonprofit award entries that are dealing with really tough issues and marginalized communities and trying to make an impact. So like them being able to tell their story and see their story represented in the award entries that we get to review. But the mad scramble, figuring out what to work on, and then telling that story. And I know the agencies put so much time, the ones that win, put a lot of time into telling that story and meeting the requirements of the entry, because it's a pure pleasure then on being on the other side to be a judge and working with you know, these qualified judges, because, you know, that's the other thing. It's like, who judges these things? Well, it's, you know, experts, the best people who've been in the business for a very long time, who know are qualified to be our judges and get to you know, recognize, award, put the numbers up, and then we get to these other categories too, you know, to really recognize the best of the best. But then the ceremony itself, when they find out that they have been awarded, they don't know what, you know, they don't know what they're going to win yet. So we got to keep that carrot out there. Like, you don't know, but you better come and find out. And then, you know, bring in the client and hoping for the best. Is it going to be, you know, a big one? What's it going to be? But that moment of bonding with the client too, that is so important, to be able to bring the client, celebrate your relationship, celebrate your partnership, and just be people, you know, be people out together in the world, and, you know, and celebrating success. So it kind of, it touches on lots of different things. And then I have to say, this year, boy, did the social media just blow up, because I think we did, you know, one of the things we try to do is understand when people come to the award ceremony, what they're looking to get out of it. And one thing we've seen an escalation in is being able to tell the story in a really visual way of, we won this award. So I would say this year we really stepped it up with the red carpet, and also the timing, you know, like you get your award and then you go right away to the step and repeat. So you can, you know, get that photo and be able to share that image, you know, the very next day. And that really, I think, helped accelerate, you know, the timeline, and keep it very timely and keep it all very special. So they were feeling that euphoria after winning the award, and then being able to share it the next day, and just, you know, connecting then with your colleagues in, you know, across the city, across the country, your clients, tying it all together and being able to celebrate virtually with the folks who couldn't be there. It's just a wonderful process, you know, and it just touches on so much of the joy that we have in this profession, you know, is being able to celebrate. We're communicators, right? We like to not just communicate for our clients, but communicate for ourselves and for our story.
Yep.
Did you say that you let people know that they've won before they come, or are people just nominated when they come?
So the
And they're like, I
process,
don't know if I'm going to
yeah.
win or not.
Yeah. So the distinction is that you enter into the you submit your entry,
Yeah.
and then it gets judged, and then we tell people if they are winning a gold or a silver,
Oh,
or
okay.
specifically that you've won an award. Now come to the Golden Trumpet Awards, where you will find out if you won, if it's a gold or a silver.
Right.
Got it.
Gold is higher than silver, just like in the Olympics. And so that's the distinction. The distinction is that you know that you won something, and then the reveal, if you will, the suspense on the evening is if it's gold or silver.
That is so much better because back in my old business, for the Emmy Awards, you get nominated and then you go there and you can sit there and have your best piece of work not win and somebody else, and you're like, oh my gosh, to know that you're coming there and you're winning something, that makes the night totally different, doesn't it? That's kind of cool.
Yeah, you're not going to lose. You're going to walk away with something.
Yeah.
I've
And
always
we
loved that
also,
about
and the
PCC.
way that we do it too, Anne Marie talked about this on social media, it's interesting thinking about how these awards have evolved, not just the Golden Trumpet Awards, but all the awards. I remember watching an episode of Mad Men, and there's an award ceremony there, and they capture that it's big deal for them to win in front of their colleagues.
Okay.
And to do so on that night, and because back then, and arguably 80s, 90s, even 2000s, the main thing that you would do when you got your award is it was all in the community, in whatever business community you had. Well, this, in this day and age, what we've done with the Golden Trumpet Awards is design it so that you can get your award and then you immediately get your photo taken, because that photo, now the community, if you will, is LinkedIn and your website. You can take that message, you can take that photo, and you can share it way beyond what traditionally would be your audience for who would find out that you won the award. So we've definitely catered to that, and made sure that the first and foremost, everyone's walking away from the evening with the marketing materials that they need to be able to tell everyone that they're a winner.
Mm-hmm. It's so important for clients, I think, to see that. In my experience, the getting not just the photo, but definitely the actual physical award and being able to show it to them. I know we talk about this in terms of agency reputation so much, and I think that's just because that's where many of us kind of reside in our careers. But I can share a story. This is recently with our biggest and most important client in a sense. They, because of their mission and other things, they were not able to come when our team found out that they had won the Golden Trumpet, which was wildly exciting. They were not able to be there, and these clients in particular, they're not marketers, and that's unusual, I think, in our industry, to have to kind of report to a committee or a board. So it's maybe more common in association work and things. But so we were opening up to give our presentation for our next year's plan and budget, and before everyone came in the room, we hadn't told them yet that we had won. So we had these little chocolate trophies made that looked like, because they were wrapped in gold foil, so they didn't look like trumpets, but whatever. So we were trying hard. So and then just kind of wrote up, this is what we won, this is why it's important. And so these 12, 14 people sitting around this gigantic conference room walk in. Of course, they're delighted that they've just been given chocolate, but they were like, wow, you guys just won something like super, super important. Clearly, maybe we made a little too big of a deal out of it, but they were thrilled. So just the validation, I should say, for their clients. And in another situation where your clients are in marketing or communications, having the endorsement, the validation essentially, to boost their own credibility internally through those awards, I have found to be very important for the clients I've worked with. It often helps them further justify their budget
Mhm.
or their staff, expansion, things like that.
Yeah.
So it can have a very meaningful impact, I think, on brands, as well as agencies.
Absolutely. Lends
Yeah.
credibility. I mean, and also also to the team. It makes the team perform better in a lot of ways, that knowing that you've been recognized as one of the best, and now that bar is high, the bar is there. So we got to keep reaching it, keep
Yep.
jumping over it.
And to
On that
Tweed's point,
front,
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, please.
Please, come on, Rob, jump in. You're next.
I was just going to say Tweed's point earlier about all of a sudden you're an award winner. You're a Golden Trumpet Award winner, and nobody can take that away from you. And especially as he was mentioning, for those smaller firms or firms that are looking to get some oxygen in that agency world, that's invaluable.
So true. Yeah,
Mm.
I was going to mention that. I'm not embarrassed to say this. When we start new engagements, new implementations of plans, we will say as a team, okay, what award are we going for? At the start of a year, and we'll often think about, okay, well, how will we structure our reporting? Now, this doesn't mean that the KPIs have changed. That's not the point. The objectives are established and the strategy is established, but how we structure what we're doing so that it fits certain reporting criteria for awards. So it makes it easier for us to kind of check as we go along. Are we actually doing a good enough job in this regard as we
That's
roll
smart.
out, this plan this year? So it's kind of like a quarterly check, or depending on, the structure of the client's work. But I'm not embarrassed to say that. That is something that we definitely, and here's why. Because when I used to work for Andy Eklund at Golan, this is ages ago, and I'm certain that Andy, I'm just going to send him this episode because he needs to hear this. He was one of my first bosses ever in my lifetime, certainly in an agency. And he basically said, if you want to win a silver anvil or any of the other prestigious awards, the Golden Trumpet, etc., then you have to have your plan for how you're going to win that. So here's what an award entry looks like, and a winning award entry, and here's what the questions are that they ask every year. Go pay attention to that.
I
And the
love
work
that.
that you do, needs to look like this. And he gives me something that, he'd won. And he was a VP at the time when he was my boss, but he had set, winning a silver anvil as one of his personal, professional, major goals, and he'd accomplished it. So you're absolutely right. There's so many ways that
Well,
it's
you just
very
teed up
beneficial.
the next thing perfectly, Eileen, which is putting together the right content for your submission. So, Tweed, I'll ask you, what are the best strategies to share when creating compelling award submissions? I'm sure there's not just one way to do it, but are there some guideposts?
Yeah, it's interesting. We'll see entries that I mean, it sounds so simple, but definitely understand the basics, and look at the award criteria. It's so easy to skip over and think, okay, well, here's we engaged with this celebrity, so this is a home run here, or we had such a great message. All we need to focus on is the one idea, the brilliant thing that led to the campaign. But if definitely take a look at the criteria, understand the point levels. So there's 5 different criteria areas for Golden Trumpet Awards. And if you focus, you might have the best message and you're going to get a 20 out of 20 there. But we also judge based on your narrative. And if you don't have the narrative that sets everything up, I've seen great campaigns get judged by other judges. I don't judge any of the entries. I'm like the commissioner, if you will, of the judges. I recruit the judges, put them in, and then do a little bit of oversight. But what I'll see judges knock out a campaign, or a gold campaign turns into a silver campaign because they didn't because someone didn't read all of the fundamentals, and make sure to have a good campaign there. So sometimes it's just a matter of having, defining your goal, making a compelling one, and then telling the judges how you matched your goal and how you beat it. If you use jargon, and I assume now that there are some people that are using ChatGPT to help write their award entries. That's fine as long as you're fact checking it, as long as you're, I would suggest tampering down, ChatGPT's language. They have a way of, or all, AI, or text generation has a way of, um, using elevating language, I would say. And elevating language is not going to help you with a Golden Trumpet Awards entry, and it can end up becoming distracting. And it's very basics, 101. Here's what we set out to do. Here's how we did it. And here's why that's a very compelling reason for us to get the award. So that's my number one suggestion, like, especially in this age of ChatGPT, use it as a tool. But if you're using ChatGPT to write your entry, it's going to miss some of the fundamentals for you.
Mm-hmm. May I ask a follow-up to you?
Please, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So in the Golden Trumpets,
hmm
how important is setting up and explaining your strategic foundation and the choices that were made in selecting strategy?
In some ways, it's more important than the content of the campaign, because of the way that the judging criteria is set up, and that's not the same. And then I think that's the same across all awards campaigns. I don't think that the Golden Trumpet Awards are any or that much different in that aspect. So there's only so much of the campaign, only so much of the judging that is based on creative. Because I think we've all seen campaigns that knock it out of the park when it comes to being creative, but they fail in other areas, and it's not as compelling of a campaign for that reason. So one other thing I'll mention is that we do have a place where uh, campaigns can submit the financial information. So everything is confidential, and it's the only people that see that would be the judges, and the judges are professionals. They keep their information confidential. You can choose to not include financial information, but if you got 5 billion impressions off of a $50,000 budget, I suggest that you include that. That's going to be helpful. So just and also being realizing stuff like that. How am I going to tell what is my best story to tell? What are my winning factors? It's just as important as again, creativity and the overall compelling nature of your campaign.
Yeah, I'll just throw in, I mean, I think the story is so important. The story of what it is you were trying to do and achieve, and setting up that it is a narrative, and I would say even a tight budget versus a big budget, some of the best awards are the tight budget awards, don't be, it's not always bigger is better. I know we always want to think that in our world today. But it's not at all. So if you've been able to tell us on the tight budget, sometimes that can even be the more compelling story. We had a tight budget, but these were our goals and this we wanted to achieve. And this is how we used our creativity to work this challenge. And these were our results. That can even be, a more compelling story in some ways than if, you had everything and you were able to throw everything against it. And, you even had a great top celebrity in the campaign. Those can be great stories too, but that's not everything. So we look at everything. It's not a this versus that, right? It's everything. We judge it for its own campaign and its own integrity and its own, what were the goals it set out to achieve and did it achieve it?
Mm-hmm. But I really like what you're saying. It's a slightly different way of thinking about it. And somebody's done this for 30 years. So this is I love that you're getting me thinking about this in a different way. So the story arc is and bringing all the components of great storytelling to that, and even like the drama and the tension and all those kinds of things. I don't know that we in our approach to entries have emphasized that enough. I tend to put that lens on the strategy and the objectives and the outcomes, right? Very, very heavily. I'm a little too rational of a thinker. So I love what you're suggesting, which is that.
And we don't want you to tell us, the inside, like who hated who and who really drove the other. And this person.
You only get so many words, right?
I couldn't stand a word. No, not that. No, but like if your campaign, I'm thinking of, for example, COVID. There was a lot of impacts from COVID, and campaigns that were ready to go out the door had to be shut down, and then they had to wait a year, and then they had to reconfigure it, So as you know, I'm sure this is ringing a bell for you. Everybody was there, right? So it's that type of thing, not the dirty laundry. I don't want you to go thinking, we want you to air your dirty laundry. I'm not looking for a salacious story in a campaign entry. I was not getting extra points.
Okay, good point. But it is like drawing on our skills as great storytellers and kind of applying it here. 100%. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's great. Thank you. Okay. Gosh, what haven't you told us yet? I guess we could ask, we were planning to cover how can you use awards like Golden Trumpets to measure and improve marketing performance. What are your thoughts on that? I kind of talked about how we do that a little bit, but I'd love to hear what you guys think.
I think that when you were talking, I was like, I hope everybody's taking notes of what Eileen does, because it was brilliant. I mean, I think you, as somebody who submits awards, has the best insights into that, honestly. I think just watching the way people, I love the idea of developing a campaign for a client and looking actually at an award entry in advance to think, this could really, let's make sure we're hitting, I mean, why not? Why not hit on all of the points of the award entry that you have in mind as you're developing a campaign? Like, I think that's brilliant. So I'm learning a lot too from this conversation, to be honest with you. I don't know, Tweed, we got to work on some of our marketing messages for now. We're getting ready to launch the Golden Trumpets very soon. So, so that's exciting. We'll be opening that up soon. And we hope people are thinking about award season as it's starting to approach.
Yeah.
So do you want to add anything else?
Well, I guess I would say that, it costs money, right? And certainly for smaller organizations like mine, and for smaller client companies, brands or otherwise, they, have to think twice and which ones to enter and how many, and because it can really, really add up, right? So one of the things that I would say to other smaller agencies like ours, if you're thinking about not doing awards, I would just say the process of having to articulate all of the elements of an award entry, really like say what you did and why you did it and how you did it and what you achieved. can be one of the greatest, most powerful learning experiences, particularly for younger folks on your team. And I, it used to be like, oh God, we like kick it to the account coordinator or the AAE, and they all had to do the awards, which frankly, in my opinion, was one of the dumbest things you could have done, because how good can you know what I mean? Like, you better have a VP or senior VP involved, heavily involved, if you want to make it worth it. But having someone who is junior, having to see that, what happens is the next time they approach a client campaign or a client plan, they're thinking, oh wait, that's what strategy is. That's how I had to explain it. And here's how I can use it in the work that I'm doing on behalf of this, totally unrelated different client. It is such a powerful way to teach that tangibly.
Yep.
So I think some years when we have a lot more ability, budget wise, to enter awards, and I enter more than we even really need to, just so I can give more access to that experience. Other years, we got to be a little choosier.
I think you're hitting on something really important, though. What you just shared is that if you think of an award entry in isolation, is it's just like, oh, it's this cost this much and we enter this award. But if you think of it as a teaching experience, professional development, if you think of the organization that you're submitting the award to, if you become more familiar with them, maybe even get a membership. I mean, this is, for example, you get a discount if you are a corporate member of the PCC. So save money there. And then you take advantage of the other programming throughout the year, like the media studio tour, so that you can get your junior folks to develop relationships with media and to practice their pitching and other skills and networking. So it should be viewed as a holistic relationship and not just a one-off if you're doing it right. So, I'm smart what you said, and hopefully, all agencies think of it, and whether it's PCC or PRSA or whatever, marketing AMA. I mean, I know everybody has to, should be thinking of a holistic relationship.
Understanding those nuances of each of those organizations is really a great point, because you understand how they tick a little bit better. Your submission is going to be stronger, presumably, with that sort of understanding. So I think that's a great point.
And and also don't forget, these are all nonprofits, everybody. Hello. It's not like the money is going anywhere other than to sustain the process of having independent, objective organizations and associations that serve you. They serve you, they serve our communities. So it's a bigger deal than just, that award entry, keeping them alive, keeping them stable financially, but as long as they're serving you, to making that investment, I would say, and to, like you were saying, Rob, any organization.
Yeah, taking full advantage of all that these awarding entities offer in terms of learnings and professional development is another great point. I'm really glad you said that. That's crucial. I keep trying to say, guys, we got to go to this. Look at this. We're paying for this. We're members. Come on, go.
Yeah.
So we're working at it. We're baby steps, but at least
awesome.
At least we have some processes in place that are better for everybody to do the award.
But they wouldn't miss the
elements.
Publicity Club. They would never miss that event.
I know.
Ever.
Okay, so now I think is a great time in our show for you guys to just tell us all the reasons why people should be members of PCC, and also when do the Golden Trumpets kick off, and when's the big show this year, all the details, and where they can go to learn everything about you so that they can take advantage of your great programming.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the commercial portion.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. At the Publicity Club of Chicago, we definitely understand that. So, the biggest thing I'll say about getting involved with organizations like Publicity Club of Chicago is that I think a lot of us lost our networking muscle. We lost our our instinct to connect and network as we were forced to during the pandemic. I, myself, feel like I went through a professional journey especially as someone that is a parent of two young children who are not so young now, but definitely were during the pandemic. Networking, professional development on some ways it was just on went by the wayside out of survival, and when I'm helping my daughter figure out virtual kindergarten and navigating breakouts for her kindergarten class on our iPad. um, that was not a fun time. So now getting back out into the world, being able to connect with people, and then there's an entire generation of people that are coming into the workplace that didn't have events like that in place. And organizations like Publicity Club of Chicago definitely take advantage of those opportunities. We're here. We have Anne-Marie mentioned our media studio tour series. We have where we go to journalist outlets and visit them. We sit down with senior leaders from the organizations and hear their plans for what they're doing at the outlet. Uh, um, so definitely take a look at those. We have some networking events that are coming together. PCC membership starts at $100 a year for our networkers. Golden Trumpet Awards benefits start at the professional membership. If you are with an agency and want to get more members of your team going, we do have corporate and corporate gold membership as well. Both of those membership levels allow for unlimited discounts with anything that has to do with the Golden Trumpet Awards. But so we see people really enjoying those events, getting together, not just for Golden Trumpet Awards, but also uh, for those, again, those media studio tours, those networking opportunities. It's a great way to learn from each other. And I see the benefits every day when I'm interacting with members and seeing them talk to each other during programs. So highly encourage you to get involved and come out to PCC events in the future.
So,
Publicity.org is where you can stay on top of things.
so when are the submissions beginning to be accepted and the awards are in the fall?
So, yep. So the award ceremony itself will be in the fall, date TBD. We also will be opening up entries for submissions in March of this year. So be on the lookout for that. There's a chance they might open a little bit earlier than that, but they'll definitely be open in March. One last thought I would say too is don't wait until the last minute to submit your entries. Very few people are going to take me up on that advice, given the historical trends of when people submit. But definitely like I've seen some campaigns that I think if they had another hour or two or a day, that they probably could have done even better. But they submitted at the last minute. So get your entries ready for March and maybe save myself a little bit of stress knowing what the final numbers are going to be by getting in some
Yep.
early entries as well. So
Yep. Are there any new categories this year?
we don't have any new categories this
Okay.
year. Do highlight the integrated civic communications category. Um, that's one of the newer categories. I am very glad that we have retired all COVID related categories. We have healthcare categories that you can enter. But yeah, there's almost 30 categories to choose from. And there's more and more specialties that pop up in the industry every year. So.
Well, Anne Marie and Tweed, you guys have been unbelievable. We thank you so much for joining us and filling us in on all the intricacies of award submissions and the relevance behind them and how important it is for not only agencies but clients. You guys have been great.
Thank you. Happy to do it. A lot of fun.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yay.
Our
And,
pleasure.
recognizing Anne Marie back as a two-time guest. We're thrilled.
Yes,
Thanks for,
it's sort of like Saturday Night Live. When she gets to her fifth time, she gets a jacket. We'll give her a gold.
yeah,
Hey,
definitely.
We'll get her a
Yeah.
gold jacket to match her golden trumpet. How about that?
There you go. LeMay.
No, but seriously, Anne Marie, thank you. Yes, you were on a couple of years ago, and we appreciate you.
I love it every time. I hope I get invited back.
Thank
you
you.
so much. It's fun. Always fun to catch up with you too.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's going to do it for another edition of Can You Hear Me? I'm Rob Johnson. If you'd like to weigh in on the podcast or give us an idea for a topic, please contact us at our Can You Hear Me podcast page on LinkedIn.
And thanks, everybody. I'm Eileen Rochford. It was great to be with you today. If you like what you heard, please consider giving Can You Hear Me a review. Certainly a positive one would be amazing, wherever you find your podcasts. And that's going to do it. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care.